just starting to get interested in this, but if you followed the story that broke a day or two ago, Department of Justice, right, revealing a lot of Russian money funneled into some conservative media platforms, and kind of seeing where that the tendrils reach. My sense, just a hunch, is that this is just the tip of the iceberg. And so it's something to keep your eye on, and to think about Russian tactics, right? Disinformation tactics and sowing dissent, building divides. I'm struck so often that when I go about my daily life, I get along with all kinds of people, conservative, progressive. I don't even know their politics, but like we're okay with each other. We really are, and we often kind of like each other, right? Our society is holding together in many ways until you get up to this political level and until you get on social media, because then, oh my goodness, right? And just to think about, this is maybe all organic, naturally occurring, that there are operators, and whether we're talking money from Russia, and it's very clear and substantiated that Russia does use this strategy to just try to gin up controversy on all sides, just to pull people apart or make people think that we're pulling apart, maybe more than we actually are. And then I look at, the kind of the world that I observe closely, conservative white evangelicals. And I just wonder how much of, the conflicts that are happening on a day to day, hourly basis, the outrage that just is constantly there, how much of that isn't, the same kind of tactics. The goal here is simply to sow dissent, to rip people apart, to make people think that we're much further apart than possible. And so I'll just leave that as something I'm going to keep my eye on going forward. As I see where some of that Russian money has gone and what it has been used for, I'm just going to be watching carefully to see who else is acting in similar ways.
Don't you think that's a really good word for all four of us for these weeks ahead? I mean, I've struggled personally as a person who is trying to analyze the environment and speak truth, as well as being a person of faith with the call to not niceness, but kindness and generosity and, you know, just the ability to really love my neighbor as myself and to try to figure out. I feel like every single day I ask myself that question. How do I hold together those two things? The conversation like we're having today, talking about status anxiety, very direct, to the point about history and demographic changes and white supremacy and all these different things that it's important to be incredibly clear and truthful about. And then the question becomes, and how do we manifest this in our relationships and the way in which we function in the world on a daily basis. So you guys are shaking your heads, so maybe you're struggling too.
Well, this is kind of a final word from me. I think it's important in the context of recognizing each other's humanity about the another school mass shooting, this time in Georgia, two students and two adults killed. Um, and obviously there's politics and policy involved in all of this. But these tragedies, unfortunately, are reminders that, at the end of the day, we're all people who want our families to flourish and our schools to be safe and our neighbors to get along. And I think, amid all the convocation, unscripted dialogue, I think we all have an accord on that, even as we bring our different perspectives, and hopefully we can continue to recognize the human unity that exists just because we are human beings, even in this very contentious time. So I just wanted to make sure that we mention that in somberness, but also as a reminder of recognizing one another's humanity.
It does seem, Jamar, that some of the people you point to in your book hold those things together so beautifully in their lives, and that's why there are people that I admire too.